Welcome to Speaking the Obvious, friends. I'm Jared Alley.
I'm James Adams.
And I'm Shane Gravlin.
Hey, you can call us at 1-800-ATHLETICS if you want. All right, our first topic today is going to be about our NFL predictions, or who will be the best teams in the league, or who will be a sleeper. And this is our NFL prediction. So who do you have, Shane?
Yeah, the NFL season just 30 days away as of today. And I'm just going to stick with the powerhouses. I like the Patriots and Steelers at the top of the AFC. I don't think the Patriots are in any sort of decline whatsoever, like some people say. A lot of people are concerned about all the drama regarding the Brady's trainer, all that good stuff. But Tom Brady's still Tom Brady, and I didn't bring my glasses, and I still see him as the GOAT.
What about you,
Okay,
James?
so first seed in the NFC, I got the Minnesota Vikings, the most well-rounded team in the NFL. They got an upgrade at the quarterback position. Then second seed, I got the Los Angeles Rams, who are very similar to the Minnesota Vikings, but I have more concerns about their linebacker position than the Vikings, so I feel like they're a tier lower. But then the third seed, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. They might be the best team in football, but I think there's going to be ego drama between Carson Wentz and the rest of the roster, because basically Carson Wentz is that laid-back, chill guy, and he's super modest, and I feel like with a lot of the ego surrounding him, I don't think there's the eye to eye, especially because he didn't win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles did. I think there's going to be chemistry issues. And then I got the Atlanta Falcons, a 4 seed. We're also a really well-rounded roster. They got a top 10 defense. They got a star quarterback who won an MVP a couple years ago. They got Julio Jones, and then I just like that roster a lot. And then I got the Saints 5 seed. I don't trust their defense. They were average at best last year, and I think people are overrating their defense a little bit. And 6 seed, I got the Packers. They're not a very good team, but they got Aaron Rodgers, so they'll barely get in there. So that's my NFC predictions.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I got to disagree with the Saints' average defense. Actually, they were top 3 in interceptions
18th
that
ranked.
year. Yeah, but there's obviously good teams. But the AFC, it's the same story, right? Every single year, the Patriots and the Steelers. Those are the 2 powerhouse teams. It doesn't matter about Tom Brady's age or Belichick's age or retiring. They're going to keep going, and they're going to dominate the conference once again. In the NFC, Eagles, they're going to be good again. I mean, improving young players. Carson Wentz is back. The Minnesota Vikings, they were 4 quarters away from the Super Bowl with Case Keenum. Now they got Kirk Cousins. You put them on that roster, that's a Super Bowl contending team. And obviously the Rams got a lot of free agents and trades this past summer. And Jared Goff is that wild card. If he doesn't perform well, a dysfunctional quarterback does not make a team very good. So that's our NFL predictions. Our next topic is about the Lakers. LeBron. So the Lakers got LeBron James. Everybody knows that. But what else do the Lakers need to make this team have a long playoff run? Shane, who else needs to on the Lakers have a good season?
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. LeBron James is just one man, and just as one man last year, he carried a hobbling Cleveland Cavaliers team to the NBA Finals. And I think that in order for the Lakers to really have a successful season, they're going to need a lot of other output from a lot of the young rookies, especially Lonzo Ball. I think he's a tremendously well-rounded player. He scores, he gets rebounds, and he gets assists. He averaged 11 points almost last year, 7 rebounds and 6 assists, which was tremendous for a rookie. And I think if that continues to increase and improve, then the Lakers are going to be a force to reckon with in the Western Conference.
There are a couple aspects you got to consider. First of all, it's a team game. In the Western Conference, you can't carry a team to the finals. If you had the team Cleveland had, they would have lost in the first round. I can name 5 teams better than them last year. Wait, what? Okay, so the second best player I think is going to be Kyle Kuzma, because I think he's going to mesh with LeBron better. He's going to be the first scoring option other than LeBron James. Wait, what to call him? I'm confused. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Wait, so I'm calling on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have a caller
Justin.
right now.
So you guys talk about how LeBron has moved the Lakers and how he's the star on the team, but do you think they really have a direction because of the fact that the players they've surrounded him with are average at best, if not B+? Lonzo is the only other possible star on that team. So where do you think the direction of the Lakers are going in the near future?
Well, first of all, it's a lot of young raw prospects. We don't know what to expect out of them this year. Your second, third, and fourth best players are 24 years old and under, so you know what you're getting out of them. I think each player has something to improve on. I feel like Kyle Kuzma with him is his defense. Brandon Ingram with his consistency. Lonzo Ball with his shooting. I think shooting is a confidence thing. I expect him to shoot better, but as I said, I think Kyle Kuzma will be that wing guy because he's the most polished scorer out of everybody. He doesn't have a higher ceiling than those guys, but he's more polished right now, and he's older, and he's already closer to his ceiling than the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, that sums up everything. I mean, if you get Lonzo, he needs to be good. Without a point guard, you're not going to be a good team. And our last topic, very quickly, will be MLB rule changes and tweaks of the game. So MLB obviously has been trying to make the game faster and better for fans. So what do you think needs to go on for the MLB to have a fast-paced game, but still MLB baseball?
Yeah, it's hard to find a balance between the pace of the game and excitement, but personally, I would like to see no DH at all in baseball. I think it adds a lot of strategy to the game when your pitcher does have to hit.
I agree with him. I think you need to change the DH, and the pace needs to be improved, but I feel like it's going to provide more consistency within the team, and I feel like that's generally a good rule to change first.
Yeah, there's also been things about pitch clocks. There should be no pitch clocks in the MLB. There's no clocks in baseball, so I think baseball is good as it is right now. I'm Jared Alley.
James Adams.
And Shane Gravelin.
And that's our show.
Coming at you live with Sports Radio. My name's Caleb, along with my colleagues
Hannah, Skylar Takak,
And Justin Borsis.
HCSJ, coming through with every play. First, our headline today is Ohio head football coach Urban Meyer under a lot of controversy after not confessing to wide receiver coach Zach Smith's domestic violence charges. You guys' thoughts on that?
Well, my standpoint is that Urban Meyer's only proven mistake is that he failed to offer an explanation for his, lie on Big Ten Media Days, which he did apologize for in his Twitter release statement, saying that his intention was not to say anything inaccurate or misleading. However, he was not adequately prepared to discuss these sensitive personnel issues with the media, and he apologizes for the way he handled those questions. Frankly, I don't believe that a person can be punished for not telling the whole truth about a crime they didn't even commit.
Ohio State's in a very tough position here because you can look at it from two standpoints. The first is from a professional point of view in that if they fire him, the program could go downhill. He's one of the top recruiters in the country. Numerous times throughout the year, they've won multiple championships. So what do you value more? Do you value the moral high ground, or do you value being slightly selfish and keeping him on? It sort of shapes up like a slight Paterno kind of a situation, not as severe, but with the way the media has portrayed it and the outcry that has come along with it, it certainly shapes up to seem that way. So, anybody else have any thoughts on this?
I agree with Skylar. It would be best not to say anything, in a court of law, plead the fifth, as that would be called. But definitely not going to look good. A official release will be brought out by the school within the following weeks.
I agree with Skylar as well, because I just think the only time he messed up was when he didn't tell the truth, and that kind of dug a hole for himself and in the media.
So now we're going to just segue into college football in general. Guys, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win the national championship this year? We got a lot of great coaches who recruit very well. So who do you think is in that upper echelon of college football teams?
Well, despite the whole Urban Meyer situation, I still have a lot of faith in Ohio State as a really dominant football team in the Big Ten Conference. Without JT Barrett, however, I'm not positive how this is going to play out, but the upcoming quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, has already proven his potential by defeating rival Michigan 31-20 last season when JT Barrett came out mid-game with an unexpected injury. And also looking forward to the dynamic duo of running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber, who produced over 2,000 rushing yards last season. So I have a lot of faith in Ohio State as a dominant team, and I really believe that they're going to do well next season.
I have four kind of on my list. There's Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson is in that list. I think USC can somewhere go in there if Helton continues his recruiting. Georgia's loaded. They have tons of quarterbacks, and
Sorry
I
to
believe.
interrupt, but I think we have a call coming in right here. You're live on HSCJ. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Doing great, doing great.
What's your question today?
Lately in college football, you can't look at college football without looking at the dominant program of Alabama. How do you guys think they'll do this year?
Great as always. I mean, Nick just knows what he's doing. He's unapologetic. He's willing to recruit. Their quarterback situation is interesting because Jalen Hurts is a bit ticked off right now about the way the situation is going, which could throw a wrench in things. But their defense is loaded. I just think that Georgia's nipping at their heels right now, and being that Kirby Smart is from Nick Saban's coaching tree, it gives him a recruiting edge coming from that state as well. So they're loaded with too much offense, I think, and they can outpace Alabama.
I agree. Roll Tide, weren't they not, top in the nation in anything?
I agree as well. I think that Georgia's hungry coming off the lose against Alabama previously this year. So.
All right, well, that's about all the time we have for today. On our next episode, we will talk about the pennant race in baseball, Dodgers, A's, all sorts of teams making moves. Thank you for watching.
Hi guys, we're here at the Hot Dish. I'm Charlie Brady, here with
Ethan Klein, Caleb Weiss,
and Sage Crawford. All right, today we're going to start off talking about the MLB. Who's going to make it into the playoffs? What's going to happen? Who's going to win it all?
So I'll start this one. So right now the MLB, we're looking at a lot of good playoff depth. A lot of teams right now in each division could be competing for a playoff spot. Right now, every division, if we look at them, have a close first and second at least. Some even have 3 or 4 teams that are above 500. And I'd like to focus in especially on the Oakland Athletics. Currently, the A's are 67 and 46, and they are not going to get a first place spot. They're 20 games above 500. And they're going to get a second wild card spot. If we look at the records, they have a better record than every single team in the National League, and they might not get into the playoffs. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I understand it's kind of the same argument though with the West that, right now the West, in the NBA right now, the West is way more overpowered than the East, and, in baseball, the American League is more powered than the National League. I don't really think either of those leagues are really going to change that. There's nothing they can really do, but it does feel unfair.
Yeah, I think that the American League is way better than the National League. If you have a team that's not even guaranteed a first spot, they're going for the wild card. It's just crazy.
All right, it looks like we have a caller here. Hi, this is the Hot Dish. How are you? Sorry?
Hello?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, so you guys are talking about the MLB playoffs, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, personally, coming from LA, I feel that the Dodgers can make a strong comeback. The Diamondbacks are doing very nice this year. But I do feel as if the addition of Brian Dozier and Manny Machado, 2 All-Stars, the Dodgers are going to be able to climb their way all the way up.
Yeah, definitely. The Dodgers made some big additions. If you didn't see it, at the trade deadline, they acquired Brian Dozier and Manny Machado, and I think they could make a good playoff run. So we'll see. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right, as Caleb mentioned before, the West in NBA is really overpowered with the Warriors and the Lakers getting LeBron James. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I believe that everyone from the East that's been really good in the past couple of years is just going to the West. And all the teams in the West are just getting overloaded with stars. You look at the Warriors with 5 All-Stars, getting Boogie Cousins from the Pelicans, and then you've got LeBron James going from the Cleveland Cavaliers to the Los Angeles Lakers. You have Paul George re-signing. The West just gets stronger and stronger. So, I think they should change the seeding so it's 1 through 16 and not 8 for each conference, because the NBA is just overpowered in the West right now.
So, do you think any of the teams in the East even stand a chance against the teams in the West?
I think the Boston Celtics, the Toronto Raptors, they're fairly good teams. I think they could beat most of the teams. I don't know if they could beat the Warriors in a finals sort of scenario, but I think they could definitely beat any other team in the West, yeah.
Ethan, what do you think? Are the Warriors going to win again?
You know, I'm going to call it right here that yes, the Warriors will win the 2019 NBA championship.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Next time on The Hot Dish, we're going to talk about the JBA and what its future will be like.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Jolly Pod, the Paul Jolowitz Fan Show. I'm Harrison Rosenthal, along with Wilson Kahn and David Galis. And today we're going to start off by talking about the Barclays Premier League. English soccer starting up in a couple of weeks for the season, along with all the other European leagues. What are you guys' predictions for this year for the Premier League?
As for champion, I have Tottenham. Last year, Man City won it all, but it's really, really difficult to repeat in the Premier League. Harry Kane only gets better, and I think Son is in for a really great year, the Korean midfielder. He's really talented.
David?
I think that Tottenham do have a really big chance, but I think that Liverpool is going to win the Premier League this year because the fact that most of their problems came from their goalkeeping, and now that they got their goalkeeper Alisson from Roma, I think most of the problems have been solved. The only thing that they have to really fix is their defense has to stay together, but otherwise everything else about the team has been figured out, and I think they have a really high chance of winning the Premier League.
They have the best center back in the league, or in the world, in Dejan Lovren. According to Dejan himself, so.
And we have a caller right now. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from, sir.
Hi, I'm Kamal. I am from Philadelphia, and I saw an ad you guys have. Is that true? Anyway, my question is, the Wolverhampton Wanderers are coming to the Premier League this year. What do you guys think about them? I think they could win.
The Wolverhampton Wanderers win the Premier League. Harrison, go ahead.
I mean, typically no team outside the top six in Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, and who am I forgetting?
Everton.
Everton, there you go. Typically win the Premier League. I mean, Leicester was an exception a couple of years ago, but there's no way you can really overpower those rosters, especially with a team like Wolverhampton Wanderers coming up from the second division. It's going to be real tough, especially to stay above getting relegated again.
Wolverhampton did win the championship last year, but it's a whole different game in the Premier League, and they have a striker from Democratic Republic of the Congo, Benika Fobe, who's had 12 goals last year in the championship, but that's pretty much all they have, and they're going to be absolutely horrible this year. They'll be relegated.
They might even have a chance of going down into the championship again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your call, Paul from Philadelphia. We really appreciate it.
Wait. I would just like to say any team that doesn't have Phillip Rivers has a chance at winning.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's a
Thank you,
perfect
Paul.
segue into our next topic, Super Bowl predictions for the NFL this year. David, why don't you start us off?
I think probably the top prediction that everyone has is, again, they'll have the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Patriots have always been really strong, and just overall, everyone knows that Brady can lead the Patriots no matter what.
Wilson?
This year, people aren't talking about them enough, but I think the Green Bay Packers actually have a really good chance of winning the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers back healthy. They had a pretty solid start last year and got derailed by the unfortunate injury in Minnesota. And I think an NFC that has a lot of contenders, the Packers are ready to compete with everyone, and Aaron Rodgers, I think, deserves a second ring. I think he's going to get it this year.
I'm just going to make it short and sweet. I think the New Orleans Saints are going to win the Super Bowl, and Drew Brees is going to MVP. And their success this year is going to be determined by how good Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore do in their second years. And so quickly, we're just going to wrap it up with some AOS predictions. Very top crowded division between the Oakland A's, the Houston Astros, and the Seattle Mariners. Who do you think is going to come out of that division as the champion, and who's going to go to the wild card game?
Well, as a Mariners fan, I hate to say it, but Mariners are going to be third place in the division, and we won't see them in the postseason. The A's have been surging for a while now, and the Mariners haven't really done anything. Think about the Mariners have been really lucky to get where they are today. They've won over 20 games by just one run, and they actually have a negative run differential, even though they're 20 games over 500. I think they've been lucky to get this point, and they're not going to get into the wild card. Second place, obviously the A's, kind of the Astros have sort of run away with the division here.
I think we all can kind of agree with that point. So that's going to wrap up the Jolly Pod, the Paul Jolowitz Fan Show today. For David Galis and Wilson Kahn, I'm Harrison Rosenthal. Have a great day.
Welcome back to Full Core Hoops. This is your host, Lucas Dawson. I'm alongside Eli Lesser and Ben Goldberg, and we're here to talk about two interesting topics today. LeBron James, his I Promise school. Is this a good thing for these kids, or is the taxpayers' money not worth it? Secondly, we're talking about Jahlil Okafor, a man who's had a rough career, but he's going to the Pelicans. We're starting with the I Promise school, Eli.
So basically what this I Promise school provides is free tuition, free uniforms, free bicycle and helmet, free transportation within 2 miles, free breakfast, lunch, and snacks, food pantry for families, as well as tuition paid for at the University of Akron for all graduates. That is absolutely insane. I think it's great,
It is.
first of all, to give these underprivileged kids the chance to be well educated, and it looks like they're going to go to college if they graduate, which is amazing.
And not only that, the big thing that you did leave out is that there's a GED/a job placement for these families, which means that these struggling parents who can barely afford to send their kids to school anyways will get jobs and finally get off their feet.
See, I personally think that is the most important thing out of this whole thing, because I do feel as if, like, it may be harder for some kids, but with the education that you are being provided with at the I Promise school, college is obviously an option, but I feel as if you give parents successful jobs to go somewhere and help provide for their children is the number one step into, just life. And
Exactly.
This is life-changing for families.
It's like the base of.
Oh, looks like we have a caller. Hello.
Where are you
What
from?
is your name?
This is Ari. This is Ari from right outside your door. I'm wondering, I know you guys were talking about LeBron earlier, and with his move to LA and the Lakers, how much do you think that he's really gonna, impact the Lakers? Will they make a postseason run? Will they not make a postseason run? What do you guys think?
Well, good to have you on the show, Ari. Ben, I think you'd like to take
Okay.
this.
Well, coming from LA, personally, being a Lakers fan, LeBron is the best signee that the Lakers have probably ever signed ever in free agency, because it is LeBron James, arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But I do feel as if LeBron, along with these other free agents that the Lakers were able to pull in, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, veterans, I feel as if LeBron can bring these players over the hump, get the Lakers into the playoffs, and see what's happening from there.
Yeah, exactly. I believe he can bring them to the playoffs, but at the same time, how much can LeBron do? Because I think, the Cavs, obviously, they had a tough situation last year with Clarkson, with Nance, and these sort of no-name but young players alongside of LeBron. At the same time, now you're going to these known names who don't have the notoriety for the right reasons.
Okay.
JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo. These are Shaq and Fool legends, aside from Rondo.
Okay.
His good years are behind him.
These players that the Lakers have all signed are pretty much all credible. Rondo, championship winning team with the Celtics. JaVale McGee was on the Warriors, did not contribute as much as he should have, but he was on a championship team. Lance Stevenson had a very major comeback season last year and actually played pretty well, alongside Lonzo Ball, a decent rookie. Kuzma actually just destroyed the league.
So my one thing about all these signings is the fact that they're all so random and they're all so different. They all have different personalities. We have the beef of LeBron and Lance Stevenson. Rondo is a nut show himself.
We're putting together the Monstars.
We'll see what happens. Thank you for your call, Ari. We got to move on to our final topic. Jahlil Okafor to the Pelicans. The former third overall pick back in 2015 has been bouncing around the league a few years. He started with Philly for a few years, bounced around to Brooklyn. Now it seems like he might find a home over in New Orleans. Guys, what's your thoughts?
I like it. Honestly, I still have faith in Jahlil Okafor. I saw how big of a beast he was in college, and I'm hoping that he can replicate at least 70% of that at the NBA level. Yeah, he's a little out of shape right now. He hasn't been in many games, but he's still very young and has a chance. I don't know what it's going to be, but...
Ben, I know we were talking about this a lot. Let's hear what you say.
I also feel as if, with the recent release of Julius Randle in free agency, bringing in Randle alongside Davis, Okafor can be that nice bench backup center alongside the big man and Randle as well, who also put up great numbers. I think it'll
All
be pretty
very
good.
true. From an intriguing player like Okafor, only time will tell how well he plays. So for Lucas Dodson, for Ben Goldberg, for Eli Lesser, this has been Full Court Hoops on your station, National Sports Radio. Take care.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mad Sports Radio. I'm Ari Friedman, alongside with my partners
Max Stenberg.
And Wyatt Effner.
We are going to talk about a couple topics today. First thing we're going to talk about is NFL postseason picture for the next upcoming year. Long way away, but still got to get some predictions in early. Max, let's start with you. What do you think?
As an Eagle fan, I'm really appreciative of our team. I think we're one of the favorites in the NFC. But I like how the Rams improved defensively, and I like how the Saints, I think they're a real sneaky team this year. And I also think the Falcons are interesting. I think New England and Pittsburgh are starting to get on the older side. I think an NFC team has a chance to win the Super Bowl.
What?
I agree. The old stalwarts, if you will, of the AFC, they can still be good, but I think they're starting to deteriorate. However, teams like Jacksonville and the Rams, they've improved dramatically. So we could see some new faces in the playoff picture.
Yeah, I personally think that the Rams are looking very strong this year. They had a good postseason run last year. They didn't make it very far, but they still made it with a very, very young team. Now they're more experienced. And as for the AFC, I'm not too sure. I'm still thinking one of the older teams. Either Pittsburgh or probably New England. We're gonna move on to our next topic. This time it's baseball playoff picture. So once again, we're going to start with you, Max. Who do you think is going to be in the World Series this year?
I think it's going to be Boston and Chicago. And I think it's going to be Boston and Chicago because I think those two teams have great organizations. They know how to win. Boston has two probably top 5, top 10 players in baseball, J.D. Martinez and Mookie Betts. And Chicago has Javier Baez, who arguably is one of the best players right now in baseball, as the MVP favorite for the National League. So that's what I have.
Why? What do you think?
I think your assessment of it being Boston versus Chicago is correct. The only other team I see that has a possibility of getting to the World Series is Houston.
Well, I got a little off-the-wall prediction. I'm sticking with the Red Sox in the AL, but my off-the-wall prediction for the National League is the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, it may sound crazy, but hear me out. They have a serious MVP candidate. Maybe not serious, but under the radar candidate in Lorenzo Cain, great all-around player. They recently picked up Moustakas and Scope, and they have 3 qualified pitchers with a sub-4 ERA. Very rare, not many teams have that. And they have very good relief pitching with Jeffers and Hader and Knebel. So if their offense is strong enough, they still got Thames and Braun, they can both still hit. And of course, Moustakas and Scope. And Yelich, of course, is another MVP candidate. So I think if they can put it together and potentially win the division, or if not, make it to the wild card, if they can catch fire, I think they're a serious World Series candidate. Now, we have a call coming in. What's your name?
My name's Nick.
Hey, Nick, what's your question?
I heard you talk about the MVP playoff picture, and I was wondering, with the 2 acquisitions the Dodgers made of Brian Dozier and Manny Machado, do you think they have a chance, if they make the World Series, to dethrone the Astros with their great pitching staff?
Good question. I think that the Dodgers do have a chance to make the World Series this year. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen, but they do have a serious shot at it. If they do make the World Series, though, personally, I think they're going to play the Red Sox. But if the Astros do get there, they're still on fire without Springer, Altuve, and Correa. So if the Astros do manage to get there, I honestly think there's no team in the National League that can stop them.
And to go back to the Dodgers, my opinion is that I think bullpen matters and pitching matters more than offense in the playoffs. And I believe that the Dodgers are not as talented pitching-wise as some of the other National League teams. Kershaw's been banged up all year, Wood's been banged up all year, and they can't really get to Jansen. So if they can get to Jansen, I can see them winning, but I don't really see that happening.
I say the Dodgers do have a shot, but I don't think it's going to happen because even though they have a lot of good pieces, they don't really gel together as a team. Whereas Boston, Chicago, Houston, even Milwaukee, they're more of a team than the Dodgers.
Yeah. All right, thanks for your call, Nick. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for the input.
I will wrap it up for Mad Sports Radio. For Max and Wyatt, I'm Ari, signing off for now.
Welcome everybody, this is Nick Zoll. I have Anthony Remedios and Garrett Sunderland beside me. This is 580, AM 580, Inside the Lines. And remember, if you want to get on air, you can call our number. It's 818-525-TALK. Once again, that's 818-525-TALK. And we'll get into the first topic right away. So, with the Warriors winning their 3rd championship in 4 years, everybody's tired of the talk. Okay, who can dethrone the Warriors? Who can dethrone the Warriors? But we're going to talk about it. So who do you think can dethrone the Warriors of the other 29 teams in the NBA?
I don't think there's much of a chance of that happening, but if there is, I would say it would be the Celtics. That would be my first guess for a team that would take them down.
Why would you choose the Celtics over a team like the Rockets, where they already have the pieces and were one win away from beating a team like Golden State?
Well, the Celtics, they played 7 games against Cleveland in the East Conference Finals last year. And the Cavs had just been dominating the East the last 3 years prior to that. And the fact that that series went 7 games is huge. And I think it really showed that they had the competition. And it wasn't 3 games here and then 4 games. It was back and forth the whole series.
So I'm going to go to you, Garrett, with that in mind. 29 NBA teams, you can take any of them. Which one would you choose?
Well, I don't really see anyone dethroning Golden State, as I think they're in a whole other stratosphere than the rest of the league with the acquisition of DeMarcus Cousins, and they have an all-star starting lineup. But if I had to choose someone, if they were to get dethroned, I think it would be the Lakers. They have a promising young core, not to mention the best player on the planet in LeBron James. And if their young players continue to develop at a rapid pace, then I think they might have a shot to beat Golden State.
And personally, I just can't ignore the fact that the Rockets were 1 win away and they lost Chris Paul, all-star point guard, to a hamstring. And arguably, to some people, they maybe would have won Game 7 if he were healthy. So let's move on to the next topic anyways. So you have 12 teams that made the playoffs in the NFL in the 2018 playoffs, 2017 season. And out of those 12 teams, there are 20 other teams that did make the playoffs. So I ask you guys, with those 20 teams, which of those 20 teams has the best chance to make a run like the Eagles did, as the Eagles didn't even make the playoffs the season before?
I have a feeling that the 49ers can make it. They just signed Jimmy G last season, underwent some big major rebuilding changes, and here they are, and they picked up later in the season going strong, so I think they could have a chance.
And we got a caller here. All right, what's your name?
I'm Dylan Dayton. I come from Los Angeles.
All right, Dylan, what's your question?
So I'm just wondering, do you really think the Lakers actually have a chance to be able to beat the Golden State Warriors? They have a really kind of weak young core right now.
I'm gonna take you to Anthony on that one, but I can give my input first. I said, for the Lakers, I'm not necessarily sure this year. Maybe in a few years when Lonzo develops, when he gets to shooting a bit better. You know, Kuzma's already a good shooter right now, but if he can develop into a more all-around player, I would start buying into it. Yeah, okay, I'd start buying into it, and you got pieces around him. I just don't think they have the star power outside of LeBron James to compete with a team like Golden State. But I'll bring it over to Anthony, as he said that he has the Lakers competing this year. What do you think, Anthony?
The Lakers, they have some strong guys, and they definitely made some big offseason moves, but I don't think their chances are very high. Like Nick said, at the time in which Lonzo develops, starts hitting his peak, that's also a time, though, when LeBron's slowly going to start going downhill, and also the guys on the Warriors, same thing. Steph, KD, Draymond, etc. They're going to start slowly hitting their downfall, hopefully slowly.
Okay, thanks.
So you're saying the age is going to be like the downfall for the Warriors?
Pardon?
Like the how old the players are, like Kevin Durant, DeMarcus Cousins are all kind of slowly getting into their 30s, so you think they're going to start aging out?
Well, let's hope not, but it's inevitable that it's going to happen at some point.
Okay, real quick before we time out, what's your NFL team that you predict going to the playoffs and didn't go to the playoffs last year?
I think that there are a lot of promising teams, but I think the most obvious choice is Green Bay. They by far the most important position in football is the quarterback, and they're getting back one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the game in Aaron Rodgers. And I know they lost Jordy Nelson, but the acquisition of Jimmy Graham will help them tremendously.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up there. 5:80 a.m. That is Inside the Lines. We'll see you next time.
Hey guys, welcome to 1008 NBC Broadcasting. We talk about basketball, we talk about football, we talk about baseball if you want it. Sometimes soccer, but not really. We're going to start off today's broadcast. I'm with my partners.
Nicholas Bear,
and Ryan Skruksma.
And the first question, everybody's wondering it, for the NFL season, the Browns, the Brown Clowns. The first question I have, are they going to go 16-0? Everybody knows they're going to go 16-0. I want to ask my two friends here, what are your opinions on this?
well, the Browns are not going to go 16-0. Let's face it. They're coming off a 2-season stretch where they went 1-31. But I do believe if they can stay healthy and if Baker Mayfield lives up to his potential, they can be a 500 team this year.
Well, I know for sure that they're not going to go 16-0 after going 0-16, especially with all the changes that they've made. I think Tyrod Taylor will make the first 4 or 5 starts because he has way more experience than Baker Mayfield or any other quarterback that they have. And then they will try out Baker Mayfield if Tyrod Taylor will struggle. And I believe the Browns will win at most 3 games. They will go 3-13.
Okay, speaking of your response there, I was going to bring up another question. Based on all of the changes the Browns made, especially at quarterback and running back positions, do you think they have a chance, even with Baker Mayfield, to win a few games? And my secondary question to that point...
Hold on, we got a caller coming in right now on the line. Let me answer this.
All right.
Speaker.
Hello, what's your name and where are you from?
This is Bill from Cleveland. I appreciate the take about the Browns. I don't think they're going to go 16-0. I could see a 15-1 or a 14-2. I think there are a couple tough losses. They played the Steelers twice. I think that could be a tough game for them. But I do agree that I think they're going to have a great season. Baker Mayfield, he's the #1 pick for a reason.
Okay.
All right.
That's good. I like it.
Well, the Browns have had many #1 picks, and look where that's gotten them. Johnny Manziel.
Well, I feel like Johnny Manziel is a different case. He was, he was 4'11", obviously, so short, but he just couldn't live up to the expectations that were put on his shoulder. He was a partier, he was a drinker. There were all these things that were going on in his life. Baker Mayfield's a little more responsible, a little more laid back like Tyrod Taylor. I'm just hoping they don't end up like the Bills this year and only score 3 points in the playoffs. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I don't even see the Browns being 14-2. I think they're, like I said earlier, they're just going to be a 500 team at best because they're not ready yet. They're not ready to win yet. So they're going to be 500 at best.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for calling from Cleveland. Of course, go Cleveland teams. I hope you guys do well this year. Have a really great day. Thanks for calling in, friend.
All right, thank you.
All right, and of course, the last question. We're going to stick with football this broadcast. We had a request from a few of our viewers. Super Bowl 53. What do you guys think? What teams are going to make it? Give me a few names.
The Patriots are always going to be up there. I have the Steelers are going to be up there. The Jaguars are going to be there. And then the NFC, the top 3 teams are going to be, in no specific order, the Eagles, the Vikings, and the Rams. So it's really a toss-up between those 6 teams. It's really hard to say right now because we haven't seen them play as a team on the field this season. But any 6 of those teams can make the Super Bowl.
Now, I have to ask you, you mentioned the Minnesota in there, right? I'm just wondering, they have a bit of a deficit at quarterback since they traded away all 3 of their quarterbacks, which was really interesting to me. They got rid of Bridgewater, they got rid of Bradford, they got rid of everybody. So I'm wondering...
Case Keenum.
And they got rid of Keenum too, who was really great as sort of a backup mixture thingy like Nick Foles. So what do you think they're going to do at the point in the season, the playoffs, when they get there and they don't have a quarterback?
Well, defense always wins. That's unquestionable. So I don't think you have to have a quarterback, but you don't have to have a great quarterback. But they have a top-notch defense, and that's going to end up leading them to some victories this year.
Okay, so just finishing off our broadcast, I just want to make sure. What do you think? Give me some teams, give me some names.
Well, the AFC nor the NFC are wide open. They're all going to be tough, especially like last season. The Jaguars, the Steelers, and the Patriots, all 3 of those teams are going to be up there. But this time, I think the Steelers are going to get revenge, and they're going to make it to Super Bowl 53. Ben Roethlisberger will make his 4th appearance in the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yes.
Despite the age, despite being 37-year-old?
He's got so much talent on that team. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Juju Smith-Schuster. But on the defensive side, he's still got Joe Hayden, Cameron Hayward, Stephon Tuitt. I think they're going to be a tough team to beat. But on the NFC side, I believe the Los Angeles Rams are going to pull it off over the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be rematch of Super Bowl 14.
Wow.
LA Rams, Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 53. And I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger pulls it off over Jared Goff. 31-14.
The experience levels, right? The Steelers have a lot more experience on that team. Darius Hayward, a lot of guys, and it's just the ability and the amount of team talent that they have. We're just getting a sign here. We got to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and Bill again from Cleveland. Thank you so much for calling. This was I'm Dylan Dayton with my two partners.
I'm Nicholas Bear.
I'm Ryan Struxma.
And we always love to hear and watch you guys. So thanks so much. This is NBC.
Hello and welcome to Sports Talk LA on 750 The Fan. I am Van Noland, and today I am joined by Owen Noland, Joey Elbon, and Jake Circus. Our first topic of discussion today will be, should Jacob deGrom be considered for a Cy Young Award despite having a losing record? I'm going to start with you, Jake Circus. What do you think?
Not only is he a candidate, but he should win it by a mile. I'm not going to say he should be unanimous, but he should get so many first place votes, more than any pitcher we've seen in a while. He's having one of the best seasons that we've seen since some of the seasons that Kershaw had a couple of years ago. He's the best pitcher in baseball right now, sub-2 ERA, sub-1 WHIP. The losing record really doesn't say anything about him, other than he doesn't have any starts where he's given up 4, 5, 6 runs. The Mets don't give him any run support. So the 7 losses, really, personally, I think that a record for a pitcher is one of the most meaningless stats in all of sports, especially with Jacob deGrom this year, because he's pitching so well, he has such good stats, and he should win the Cy Young.
I would disagree with you. I think Max Scherzer should win the Cy Young. He's already got 200 strikeouts, the lowest WHIP in the majors, second lowest ERA, second highest WAR for a pitcher. And he has more wins, and I know wins isn't everything for a pitcher, but you can't totally not factor that in. I know Jacob deGrom isn't playing on as good of a team as Max Scherzer is. The Mets are one of the worst teams in baseball, and he doesn't get the run support. But to say wins are a meaningless stat, I think, is completely false. And it's something that should be taken into account when judging how good a pitcher is, although it shouldn't be the be-all, end-all.
Yeah, I agree with Owen on this. Wins have a factor because if you're a great pitcher, it shouldn't matter how your team's offense is. You should always be able to maintain the other team's offense to a minimal amount. Yes, Jacob deGrom does that, or Jason deGrom does that, but if his win-to-loss record is he's 5-7, if it's still below 500, clearly he's doing something in those losses where he's letting up too many runs where the Mets can't even bounce back.
Well, there's a stat called wins above replacement, which Jacob deGrom has a very high rating. It's a individual stat that brings shows the value that an individual brings to a certain team, and he has the stats that give him everything. He has really high WAR. He's so valuable to the Mets, and the Mets just don't give him the support that he needs.
All right, our next topic for today is the World Series. Who do you guys think will be playing for it all in October? Owen, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to say from the American League, I'm going to say the Houston Astros get back there again. They repeat as AL champs. And in the National League, I'm going to take the Chicago Cubs. They've been there. They've won a World Series before 2 years ago. They've still got that core intact, that young core, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Addison Russell, lots of good young players that have won in October and won a World Series together before. I think they'll do it again this year.
I agree. I think the Houston Astros as well. They got better at the trade deadline, and they got rid of Ken Giles, who really has been awful in that bullpen, and they got Roberto Osuna as well.
We have a caller on the line. Hello, you are on 750 The Fans LA Sports Talk.
I'm sure you guys talk a lot about these American League teams that are really doing a great job, but you haven't even mentioned the Sox, who are currently favorites to win. They're 3 games up. They beat the Yankees yesterday, and they're currently the best team in the league. Stop talking about the Astros and start talking about the Sox. Do you know what I'm saying?
I actually agree with you. I disagree with both of you. The Astros, yes, they're a great team, but agreeing with our caller, the Red Sox are unbeatable, it seems, throughout this year. Their talent level, they're so far ahead of everyone else, I feel, in the American League, that they're really unstoppable, and I think they will not struggle to make into the World Series. And then on the National League side, I have faith in the Dodgers, again, to make it. They've been playing so well lately. Cody Bellinger stepping up, and I have faith that they'll make it again.
We have
Sorry,
time.
Chip Inning.
We have time for just one more.
We're gonna end the
today.
call. Thank you for the call, though.
We have time for just one more topic today. The Los Angeles Lakers recently signed LeBron James. What sort of impact do you think he will have? We're going to start with you, Joey.
The biggest thing I'm looking forward to with this transition is what can LeBron James do to develop these young players. We have Kyle Kuzma, we have Lonzo Ball, so young but so talented. They have so much potential. I'm very excited to see what that'll bring to the table, developing them for a future in Laker basketball.
I completely agree. I think he'll bring them to at least the 3 seed, maybe even the 2. I think they're a better team than the Rockets. They're a lot better than last year's Cavs, and look what he did to them. Although in a weaker conference, but this team's younger, they're faster, they're just all around better. And I would take a young team over an old team like the Rockets, who actually got worse. The Rockets bench kind of derailed. They lost 2 key bench players, and I like the Lakers over them as a 2 seed.
All right, that will just about wrap up our show today. That's all we have time for. Thank you for tuning in to 750 LA Sports Talk. For Jake Elbaum, Van Nolan, and Jake Circus, I'm Owen Nolan. Have a good night.
Coming to you live, and good morning, everyone. It's from SBC LA. Alongside with me, Noah Wheeler and
Chris Adjusting Nix.
And I'm Andrew Diaz. So our first topic today is the start of the new NFL season. Guys, what's gonna happen this NFL season?
Well, Andrew, I mean, you just got to think about it right now. I'm just so excited just thinking about it. I mean, the Super Bowl champion Eagles kick off against an AFC always powerhouse in the Steelers in the preseason. Obviously, you never get too much action in the preseason, but I'm just so psyched for the start of another season. Great people, great new rookies. So excited to see how Lamar Jackson comes back from that rough Hall of Fame game. Getting ready and getting excited.
And you, Chris?
I'm just looking forward to see what teams are gonna come out and surprise us this year. I mean, obviously you've got the teams that are every year gonna be good. You got the Patriots, you got the Steelers, but let's see. I want to see who's gonna surprise us this year.
My thing is that is Tom Brady and Bill Belichick gonna be the same team even after losing Malcolm Butler this offseason? But they still added some pieces. They got Eric Decker. They still have Gronk. They added a few guys. They got the running back out of Georgia, Sonny Michael, and I'm really hyped for the Patriots. Next topic: LeBron to LA. Thoughts, guys?
I gotta be honest, Andrew. I think this was the greatest move that Magic Johnson could have done. I mean, if you look at this, I mean, Magic Johnson even said on SportsCenter to Stephen A. Smith, "If I can't make a splash this season or the next season, you gotta just cut me from the general manager position." So I think this was excellent work by Magic. I see them possibly being a Western Conference contender this year.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, what else? There's nothing that you can do that's better than signing LeBron James at this point in the NBA. I mean, Magic, that's the perfect thing he could have done for that franchise. And LeBron, I think, is going to make the Lakers into one of those top teams, but we'll go to our next topic.
I agree. I think people are saying that the Lakers are going to be a 7 to 8 seed. I disagree. I believe we're going to be a top 3 seed in the West, especially LeBron getting his guys to help,
Looks like we got a caller in.
So we got a caller. Hello?
Yeah, I think it was a dumb move by the Cavs. He should have stayed in Cleveland. It was stupid. I would pay the money. Why the Lakers want to bring them on LA? Why? It's not worth it. I think he should stay in Cleveland. They were going to Houston. Or go to San Antonio. But you want to ring right now. You won't want to ring this year or next year. Why are you on to LA? Why are you wearing immediately?
Caller, before I go any further, are you from Cleveland?
Oh, I'm from Cleveland, baby.
Yes, I sort of seem to understand. I think that from a Cleveland perspective,
it looks like we have to wrap up the call.
No, you know, caller, I understand that from a homie perspective, you're sitting here and you're very, very, very mad. I mean, you just lost the best player. All you have left is J.R. Smith, Mr. Blow the Game, Game 1. I mean, it's a sad situation in Cleveland. But I think, buddy, what you need to do is stop thinking about LeBron and start thinking about the Browns. Because Baker Mayfield, maybe he'll be something.
Hey, and don't sleep on Colin Sexton. He's gonna be a decent player. He's a leader. He's gonna play defense. He's gonna play hard. I don't know. Eventually, Colin Sexton might become one of the better players in the NBA. He's not LeBron, but it's somewhat of a concept.
All right, caller. It looks like we have to wrap it up. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And to our final topic today, as Kawhi Leonard joining to Toronto, what is your thought, Noah?
Personally, Andrew, I thought that this was an extremely smart move from the Spurs. Obviously, he really never really wanted to play last year. Wasn't feeling too confident. Felt like that he was in a position where people didn't really care about him. What would you say, Chris?
I'm 100% in agreement. The Spurs, they were going to need to get rid of Leonard. He wasn't going to come back and play for them. And they got DeMar DeRozan on a long-term deal now. DeMar is a great player. He's been a starting all-star each of the last 2 years. He's a premier scorer in this league. Great job by the Spurs. But I do think Kawhi is going to end up going to the Lakers in the offseason.
This was a very smart move, but I have to say that the Spurs are they're not going to be good for a while. Most of their veterans are not even there, and getting DeMar DeRozan was a very smart move, but it's going to still take us a long time to rebuild. And that will wrap up our show today. Alongside with me, Noah Wheeler,
Chris Adjusting,
and I'm Andrew Diaz. Good night, everyone.
I'm Chana Gusaker with my partners
Chris Linney
and Jackson Woodine.
We're talking about the Giants bullpen, Boogie Cousin trade to the Warriors, and who will be in the Super Bowl contenders this season. Let's start with the Giants bullpen. What do you think the bullpen for the Giants is? What's the problem?
Keep blowing leads. That's all they do. They blew a 1-0 lead last night, and I don't know what the problem is. I think it's just the bullpen. They just need work. They need more work. They need to work harder. They need to stop throwing hangers and stuff. They need to just get with the program and stop costing us so many games.
What's your opinion? I know you're not a big baseball guy, but
I just think since they're kind of on the cuff of being a playoff team right now, they need better closers, and they can't keep relying on Madison Bumgarner. There's no room on his shoulders to carry the team because of his luscious hair as it is.
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think if you have a good lead and you bring the bullpen in, then you can finish the game instead of having a guy save you and lose a game by 3 or 4 runs. That's my opinion. Next topic, Boogie Cousins to the Warriors. What do you guys think about the Warriors speaking of Boogie Cousins?
We have a super team now. If you take a look at our starting 5, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins. That is one heck of a team right there. And if you put DeMarcus Cousins in there, you're good. You're probably going to have one of the best seasons in NBA history.
I think this trade absolutely ruins the league for the rest of the fans, except for all the bandwagon Warrior fans, because now the Western Conference is way superior to the Eastern Conference, so they might as well not even play the finals. And with the addition of Boogie Cousins, probably the best big man in the league right now.
We have a call on the line. Caller, what's your question? Oh, please.
Working in New York, I'm a guy, man, who, loves traditional basketball. I'm getting sick of these super teams, man. I got sick of it in Miami with LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. Then you had Kevin Durant to the Warriors. Now you got Boogie Cousins. I know he tore his ACL, but still, it's just getting ridiculous. Can we go back to classic basketball where good players were on different teams?
Here's my thing. I think it's not considered a super team because they all help one another win games. I think it's different if you had, James Harden or whoever else on the team. That's considered a super team. But I don't think it's a super team like LeBron James said one year. What do you guys think?
I'm getting sick of super teams too, but hey, this is the Golden State Warriors. They could be something special this year, especially with...
But guys, not to play devil's advocate here, but as you guys even know, the Warriors have a team of all-stars, 5 players.
Exactly, but just because they got DeMarcus Cousins doesn't mean that the NBA is ruined.
there is a complete unbalance just due to the fact that players are chasing for rings. So, caller, I do agree with you. I do not like this new era. I prefer when teams where the players would stay in their hometowns and where loyalty was still a thing, and then there was actually competition in the league.
So we have one more.
I like you guy, man. You're my favorite guy, whoever you are. I guess maybe Jackson, I'm listening to you. You're my favorite part of this station.
Yeah,
So-
why don't you keep dreaming in New Orleans? Because you guys are about to start a rebuild.
All right, so we have one more thing. Who do you think will be contending for the Super Bowl? Last minute too.
I think that the Patriots have a good chance, of course. Pittsburgh Steelers, LA Rams, Philly Eagles, pretty much most of those teams. The Chargers could be a sleeper hit this year. Same with the Texans and the Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. They can make some noise this year with the team that they got. So yeah.
I like the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. I believe if it wasn't for horrible officiating, because Miles Jack was not down in the AFC Championship, the Jaguars would have already made it to a Super Bowl. But I think they'll advance past the AFC Championship for the first time in franchise history and ultimately win it, riding off the coattails of their #1 defense.
And now wrap it up here at our radio show. I'm with my partner
Jackson Woodine
and Chris Linney.
I'm Prime saying good night.